everybody who belongs to this group is going to look something like this, but we're going to have minor variations in the layout or the colors or something like that.
All right. Well, the last question that I have relates to WordPress 3.0. There's a lot of new features. I know at Imaginuity we didn't use WordPress as much until WordPress 3.0 came out because some of the new features. So if you guys could talk a little bit about some of the 3.0 features that you're using, what you really like about it. I know Stephanie's book is about that, so there's probably a lot to say.
Actually
there.
not.
But we'll start with Cory, and just you guys talk about what features you're using, or I guess at iThemes, have you integrated those features into your themes?
I think WordPress 3.0 was one of the most significant version releases in WordPress history. And I date back to 2.0. I think RD2, we were talking earlier, dates back about 4 or 5 years with WordPress. I can't remember, but there's been significant strides. But I was so excited about this particular WordPress update because of some of the features. And the two features that I think of is, every WordPress iteration it just gets it better and better, while trying to keep it simple. Dashboard, helicopters, don't do that. But 3.0 was specifically custom menus, where you can do all kinds of cool stuff with custom menus. I think that helped push WordPress into the CMS category more and more, because you want a custom menu and you can do all kinds of cool stuff. And then for developer types and ones that really want to take it to the next level, it's custom post types. And so I think we'll see more and more stuff to do with that. But it puts it into the categories I've seen. I'm not familiar with Joomla and Drupal, but I've heard there's that custom post type stuff has been in, I think, Joomla or Drupal, one of the two, for a while.
Drupal.
Drupal? Okay. Yeah, it's called something else.
Content Creation Kit.
Yeah.
I think. CCK.
So those are cool things. But the custom menu for us, we've tried to build themes since we started for businesses. I mean, WordPress is blog software, right? But really, it's, for us, it's a full-blown CMS that can do really, really good stuff for, in particular, small businesses, those medium, maybe not the corporate level stuff, they want something else. But those mom and pop stores that want to get their site on the web, be found in Google, do some cool stuff, manage their own content, have control of their site, WordPress is it. And so the menus was one more step in that category. The missing piece is calendars. And I don't know how much you run into this with your custom business, but that's one thing, the calendaring. There's not a good calendar solution in WordPress, but beyond that, 3.0 hit menus.
Matt, what about you guys? Are you using any of those new features or any of the other features?
Yeah, I was telling my guys the other day, when I started doing this 6 years ago, I told them I wish I had WordPress 3.0 then. How far we've come and how great it would have been to start where we are today. But we love WordPress 3.0 and specifically the custom post types. We really try to customize the dashboard for our clients to really make it as simple as possible. It's back to that kind of support and usability. We hide things that they don't need to see just to make it simplified for them, so they don't go, what does this do? And then they change something, or they deactivate a plugin or whatever. So we really use the custom post types. For example, like we've done a thing for a lot of our business clients where they want to have testimonials maybe in the footer. We'll make a custom post type called testimonials, and each testimonial is a post, and then we have the footer set up where it will randomly select one of those posts and display it in the footer each time the page loads. So if you refresh, you get a new testimonial. And then we have a page where every testimonial is laid out on a single page with like a kind of a line break in between each one, an HR rule. So it looks really nice, and we have the link down there, read all testimonials, and it takes them to that page. So that's just a great example where our users don't have to figure out, like, why am I putting my testimonial under the posts button? Why can't there be a testimonial button? So it's just a ease of use. What would you guys add to that?
Just that the good thing that I like with the custom post type is you can even, like with other plugins, you can add custom fields just for that post type. So there's not like say you have like a slider or something, like a featured image field, that doesn't have to be on every post. It's just on the custom post type. So it just kind of separates the posts and custom.
Yeah, and I know I run a site for a nonprofit where we've got a big discussion groups page. That's this gigantic page of content. And every time the person goes in to edit the events for some of the upcoming groups, the formatting gets off, a strong tag gets deleted, and so the whole page is bold, or the whole page is an H3. And so she's always sends me an email, I broke it again, can you fix it? And I haven't upgraded them to 3.0, but when I do, that'll be a custom post type for groups. At Imaginuity, one of the sites that we just finished building is Wally'sPartyFactory.com, and they're a small market party supply store, and they have, I think, 30 different stores. And so we have a custom post type for stores. And so then we've got a store locator we built off of that hooks into Google Maps. So we just wrote a plugin that registers that custom post type of store, and then you can do a zip code search or whatever based off of that. Cool. Stephanie, what about you with WordPress 3.0 features?
I'm actually not using custom post types yet. I started to. We have a listing of courses that would be great to get out of our posts table and into a custom post type, but the archive pages aren't there in 3.0, and they will be in 3.1. So I said, we're going to wait on that. I have the plugin all coded up. It's just kind of waiting on those archive pages to get there.
Let me ask you real fast. You said you have a plugin ready to go. A lot of the stuff I've read on custom post type says to put them in your functions.php file. Is that not what you're doing?
No, I'm doing it as a plugin.
Can you explain a little bit about kind of how that works and why it's different?
No, because I'm not really familiar with the argument for putting them in functions.php, so I don't know why they would recommend that.
Okay.
For me, that doesn't make sense, because if we want to change the theme, we want the post types to stay, and functions.php is specific to a theme. So yeah, that doesn't make sense to me at all. So yeah, I've written it as a plugin. I'm actually running a 3.1 alpha on my production site right now, which is not the smartest thing in the world to do, but I was keeping up with the changelog on track, and I knew it wasn't going to break, and I said, you know what, I want that feature. I'm just going to roll it out. Yep. So I probably could run with it right now, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So we'll be using the custom post types next semester to do our courses. And it's very handy for the custom fields, as somebody said over there. You know, we've got these courses that have to have a professor name attached to them. They've got to have a course code. We don't want that stuff showing up on our posts and our pages. And so I can create that specific to this course post type, get all those like 800 courses out of our posts table, which is all mixed up with our newsletter articles and all that other stuff. Move it aside, make it much better organization-wise, and then get those custom fields off the screen. And use custom taxonomies for them as well. I am using a lot of custom taxonomies in 3.0, and the new support for hierarchical taxonomies, say that 3 times fast, has been really great. So I'm using that quite a bit. And of course the menus we use on just about every site.
Do you use multi-site at all?
Absolutely.
You're the one who's supposed to talk about that.
Oh, am I? Okay. Yeah. So I did have about 6 or 7 different individual WordPress installations set up on the server. And I said, yeah, that's going to go when 3.0 comes out, because Mu is just kind of difficult to set up, and I know they say it's not any easier in 3.0, but it really is. It's much easier. And so I spent some time migrating all of those individual little sites into a single network installation, which is fantastic because I have one thing to upgrade and I have one group of plugins, and so it's much better for support and maintenance. Migrating was tricky. Enough so that I'm actually talking about it at like a couple of upcoming WordCamps. It's its own topic, and I'll be happy to, talk to anybody who's interested in that after this, because I don't want to monopolize the panel talking about migrations. It's not easy necessarily to take a single installation and move it to a multi-site, unless all you want to do is the posts, the pages, and keep those authors. You can do the WordPress export format. But if you need more than that, like your plugin settings or something like that, now you're looking at moving the whole database tables into another database, and there's some tricky stuff there.
Are you using the domain mapping plugin?
Yes.
For your...
Yes. One of the fun things about the university network is that we don't have control, obviously, over the www.tamu.edu. That's some other guy in some other building who manages that. And so for me to be able to set up all of my sites, they have to be, something.writingcenter.tamu.edu. Well, we don't really support that address structure. So, I have them set up on the server, and then I immediately have to map basically a subdomain using the domain mapper plugin after I register it through the campus DNS system. It's really goofy. Fortunately, our central campus web guy, Eric, figured out how to do that before I had even gotten around to it and wrote up these beautiful instructions on doing it. I was like, damn, that's fantastic. I'm just going to steal that and do it myself. But then, of course, I ended up writing a huge addendum on all the stuff that I ran into, migrating those tables in that he hadn't had to deal with. So we sort of collaborated on how all that worked.
Yeah, I've been impressed with how well the domain mapping plugin works. We're building a platform for mall property management company to host 40-odd some mall websites, and they're all at their own domain.
Oh, yeah.
But we're setting them up centralized, and so that's what we're working on now, and it's going. I mean, it's really smooth. It's really easy. You have to have control over your DNS, is the big thing there. But as long as you can control your DNS, and a lot of companies, even like HostGator, will let you do the wildcard DNS for subdomains and stuff. So it's not as big of a challenge. You're right. It's much easier in 3.0.
So how does that domain mapping work though with the plugin?
So the domain mapping plugin, so when you set up multi-site, it asks you if you want subfolders or subdomains, and you set it up to use subdomains. So your website is, subdomain.mysite.com, and then you install the domain mapping plugin, and it lets you say that this subdomain is really, site number 2.com, and it will then let you. So you can basically run however many different domains through there. You just have to get all the DNS to point to the same spots. Like with HostGator, you would park the domains on top of each other, and then.
So is it the same? It's all the same plugin. It's all the same content. Everything's the same.
No, they're all different sites under the multi-site feature. So when you activate multi-site, which is actually fairly easy to do, then you get a new super admin panel where you can say add new site, and it'll give you the subdomain, and then you can map it to another domain.
It's basically what WordPress.com uses to do, so-and-so.wordpress.com becomes mysite.com.
Right.
And it's multi-what?
Multi-site. I think a good resource is called something like Creating a Network in WordPress 3.0 on the Codex. We'll try to get a list of links.
Yeah, when that came out, we thought about literally running all of our clients' sites off one WordPress installation, but I was so nervous about that because if one thing went wrong, then everybody went down, and so we do separate installations. But it sounds really, really nice.
Yeah, I think for different clients, we put them on different WordPress installations. If one of them wants to go host somewhere else or wants to take over management of that themselves, we would do that. But with this, it's like a WordPress.com for malls is kind of what we're setting up. So
Now I did turn on multi-site also for my freelance clients to sort of do a preview site for them, and so I could do the development site at subdomain of mycompany.com and then move that off to their own site when it was done.
I wonder if you could build a site at a subdomain and then when it was ready to go live, promote it to the domain map it or something like that. I haven't thought of that use, but building a preview site in multi-site and then, or even do it in a subfolder, I guess, and then I wonder if you could do that. Check the box. This is now the primary site. That's something worth playing around with.
I bet you could, yeah.
Leah, what about you guys? What 3.0 features do you use? The ones that have been mentioned or anything else?
I use the crap out of custom post types, maybe to excess. I think that WordPress 3.0 has been fantastic for our workflow. I can get the site to a point where somebody else can be handling content entry and getting all of the information and data into it a lot faster than we could before. And yeah, I use the menus, love the menus, because a client can call up Candace or Patty and say, hey, we want a different thing, and they can just go in and take care of it, and I don't have to know that a page ID changed that I need to exclude from template tag here. And right now, I should say that we do a lot of sites that are not blogs that we're using WordPress as a CMS for. In fact, the site I'm working on right now, using your example of hiding boxes that you don't need, I hid the posts altogether, and I'm just using the custom post types now. And it's been fantastic for the workflow because, a couple days into development, Patty can be in there and start putting in content while I'm still building templates out and still making the front end of the site.
Can I reframe the 3.0 question
Yes.
for a second? Because I don't know exactly who your users are, but I'll say that 3.0 from a developer perspective was a blockbuster version release.